You can move me.
Liz Rosenthal is Director of Power to the Pixel, an agency that helps film and media stay ahead of the digital curve. And she joins me now. Hello, Liz.
Hello.
Great to have you at XpoNorth.
Thank you.
What are you up here to do, first of all?
I have come to moderate a couple of sessions, actually 3 sessions. Yeah, I've done 2 already today and 1 tomorrow.
Now, you must have been asked this a lot, because there's a lot of emerging filmmaking that you're very interested inside. You know, what are the challenges that face modern filmmaking in terms of getting themselves heard and keeping ahead of digital demands?
Well, my company, Power to the Pixel, is based on how you adapt to stay relevant to change. So for the last 10 years, I've been looking at how you use interactivity in digital and all the new formats and platforms and devices that are emerging to tell stories and create new business models. So it's a constant evolving area. So what I say to people is it's difficult when you're confronted with all these choices and technological developments. You have to really go back to basics, I think, and instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to make a game or I've got to make something in virtual reality now or augmented reality, is to think very carefully what you're doing and why you're doing it. And sometimes that's the first thing, and who you're doing it for, actually. And then it's to make that choice of what you use to tell that story.
Is there a general separation in what people are looking for when they're discussing these things with you? I mean, I'm thinking particularly of smartphones, cell phones, and increasingly devices where the screen becomes smaller and smaller for people, the way people view digital, whereas at the other end of the age spectrum, perhaps a small screen isn't quite what people are looking for.
Well, I sometimes think, you know, there's subject matters and genres that you're talking about that suit certain types of formats, and then there's people, of course, who are going to consume or engage with those ideas. And there's so many different ifs and buts, but when it comes to age groups, it can be quite surprising, you know, what technology people are using. So, for example, when it comes to virtual reality, that's being used a lot in healthcare and psychiatry, and also with older age people to deal with certain issues to do with sight and other things, and Alzheimer's. So, you know, I think we have to be totally open about where technology comes in.
I mean, when you're looking at approaches, is there a key approach to making a successful online story? Is there a particular steer that you tend to give clients?
I would say that actually it's a very hard space online, and I think with any platform you have to really think about how people use that platform and what their behaviours are. So when you're online in a browser, that's very different from being in an app, and when you are in a browser, people get very distracted. So it's quite hard to tell stories in browsers. So I mean, there are loads of different considerations to make before you start using different platforms. And you've got to think, you know, is this the right form of telling a story? And can I engage people in the right way and for the right length of time to tell that story? So for a long time, a lot of documentarians were coming to us to develop web documentaries, and that was the first thing people started thinking about. And it's quite hard actually to keep people engaged online in a browser telling a story, because you're kind of flitting from your Facebook feed to your news to your email, and it's not sometimes the best place to do something that's going to engage someone for a long time. So there's so many different ifs and buts.
Yeah.
Where you start. And
It does sound like almost a multi-platform approach is perhaps a way ahead, because you can't necessarily rely on just one approach. There's no one fix, as we find out so often in business.
Yeah, and I think I think when you're developing anything, any idea, you have to be very strategic about how you do it. And at first, you know, this is the word transmedia that everybody uses, that you develop an idea that manifests itself in different places and different ways on different platforms. And we used to get these projects for our lab, applications where they were going to develop a film and a book and a game and an app and every conceivable thing you could do. And it's hard enough developing one of those elements and raising the money. I think it's how you grow an idea, and it's thinking about something as a brand, even if you're thinking about something arts and not-for-profit, it's thinking about how you're going to grow that strategically, not I'm going to do everything.
Is it hard to get people to think in terms of brand? I mean, it's become such a toxic idea, to certain bands of the creative industries.
I mean, I use it as a kind of, as a kind of template idea that you can use the idea of brand. There are people like David Lynch of brands in their own right.
Yeah.
Actually, David Lynch would probably be fine saying I'm a brand because he's an extraordinary guy, open to many different things. But I think, we have to take that with a pinch of salt, what that means. Or an identity. What's your identity? Your identity exists in a platform agnostic way. So it's funny now, you talk about broadcasters. Let's think about the BBC, for example. They see themselves maybe as a broadcaster, but that's not actually their remit to be a broadcaster. It's to educate and inform. And it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter what platform that's going to be on. In the same way, I think creators have to be very different now about how they see their careers and how they see themselves not in industry silos. Like, I am just a filmmaker who wants to be a director. I think you have to be multidisciplined and to think very differently now and collaborate across different disciplines.
Food for thought there. Thanks very much for coming in, Liz.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.